Hi there, welcome. This is PHcreativeway Podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to PHcreativeway blog, a blog about writing, publishing, self-publishing, formatting, promoting, marketing books, or other type of publications and messages. It is also a place where I would like to give space to voices of others and their messages, their life messages that they have, that they could share with the world if they feel so comfortable to do. Usually, that will probably be through certain biographies, autobiographies, memoirs, but maybe in the future there'll be some other methods that I will bring in. We'll be opening this podcast with a major project. So I've been feeling on my spirit Elon Musk a lot lately, and he is all over the social media in the past days. And so I realized he's written a biography, and I'm like, okay, I'd like to see what he has to say. I only managed to scrap the surface of Elon Musk's biography, and I already want to share something. Something is pressing upon my spirit. I just feel like I need to mention it. But before I get to the point that I really want to address today, I'd like to just, in general, make a difference between fiction and nonfiction. So when I usually think of books, I instantly get reminded of fictional books, right? Fiction is all about imaginary characters and events, right? I don't usually even think about non-fictional books, but they are a very real thing. And nonfiction versus fiction is actually all about real events and facts. Or as Dave Chasen says in his article, fiction versus nonfiction, definitions, example, and ideas. A fiction is not true, while nonfiction is true. There are, of course, other differences, but for the most part, when it comes to the techniques used, they are similar. Fiction is usually read for pleasure, and then nonfiction, on the other hand, is read in order to learn something, solve a problem, or just become better informed regarding a certain topic. And it's actually this that I wanted to use today. You see, when I was reading the first chapters of Elon Musk's book, it spoke about the childhood of Elon Musk for the most part, his upbringing, and then also his move to America. And it instantly reminded me of a teaching, a concept that I was introduced to not so long ago by Pastor Craig Hill. He is the founder of Family Foundations International, which is a Christian ministry dedicated to helping individuals, couples, and families become people of influence and so forth. So he's really about creating this culture of blessing. And he also is a devout believer in ancient paths. The return to ancient paths and how it can prosper us as individuals. Among these ancient paths also happens to be this thing called the parental blessing. And what I wanted to address today is the fact that our parents can be a voice of blessing or cursing in our lives. Every parent can choose in every decision they have to make, they can choose to either impart the image of God into the heart of their child, or in the message of God into the heart of their child, or do the opposite and impart the message and the image of Satan for how Satan wants the life of that child to go forth and to commence. So, why am I talking about parental blessing? Because when I was reading, there was a certain situation that triggered me. It reminded me of something that happened in my life, and it made me remember all the times when I actually responded to the message of cursing in a way that didn't really produce good results. So we mentioned that we can parents can impart either a blessing upon their child or a cursing, and in some cases we can even say that if there is a lack of blessing, that in that area some say the curse is there as well. A child after they have been cursed can take two different paths, two different routes. This is usually how it manifests. First, they try to prove, or rather, they try to prove their parents wrong, or rather, they just want to receive that blessing, they want to receive that approval, so they try harder. They try harder because they want to please their father, they want to please their mother, they want to do the right thing, so they strive to prove that they can do it. And sometimes that leads to way over striving, overachieving, and it can manifest even in problems where somebody can be so driven they don't even know when to rest. And I've been guilty of it at times, and I believe even Elon Musk might be going through this. Then there's the other route, which is full out rebellion, where the child realizes what's the point? It's not like you're ever gonna be pleased, right? I'm never gonna be good enough. And they stop trying. And that leads to a child that's just not driven. They quit everything they give a go. They fail in a lot of things. They just lose interest. They're not as driven. As you can see, this can be a big problem. But now I want to mention the good news. And that is that the power of the blessing, when it does come, is way greater than the power behind any curse we have ever received in our life, especially if it's from our Father in heaven. So, Pastor Craig Hill goes into deeper detail about the power behind the parent's blessing in his book, The Power of a Parent's Blessing, which you can find on Amazon or on his site, familyfoundations.com. He also touches upon this subject in his course, The Family Blessing Blueprint, which can also be found on familyfoundations.com. So, thank you for listening to me today. I welcome you next time too. And I'd like to finish this beautiful podcast, today's episode, with a short prayer. I pray that the Lord bless you and keep you, that He make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you, and let the Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace.